Coming up on Your Money and Your Life, the top 3 exchange-traded funds for beginners. Working out if you're on track to retire. Plus, in Kochie's Budget Challenge, is this Australia's canniest deal hunter? Hello and welcome to Your Money and Your Life, the show that's all about saving, spending, investing and enjoying your money. My mission is to help you make the very most of your money. Today, we're starting off with Kochie's Budget Challenge. Every week, with the help of the team at Compare the Market, we show Aussies around the nation how to find better deals on their biggest bills and save big time. Let's meet Sudesh, one of my toughest challenges yet. Melbourne dad of 2, Sudesh, is a stickler for a good deal. He's keeping a keen eye on his bills so he can save up for his mortgage, travel and his daughter's upcoming wedding. So, can we do better for this canny comparer? Challenge accepted. Sudesh, thanks for having us. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Sudesh Wilson. I come from Fiji. Got here in 1980. I've got 2 daughters, aged 28 and 26. And in the next couple of years, they're both getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, the wife and I are looking forward to the next phase of our life.
Okay, expensive period coming up with 2 weddings. Do you approve of the sons-in-law?
I absolutely adore the boys. They're 2 great kids. They're very welcome in my family.
Great.
Yes.
So how do you organise your finances? You've set us a pretty tough task. You compare and check on a regular basis, don't you?
I'm one of those fanatics, yes. Especially with the mortgage rates, always chasing up the bank every 6 months, actually.
Is that every 6 months?
Every 6 months.
And do you usually get a result?
I do.
So right.
Because I always threaten them, I'll go somewhere else.
And so what's the biggest discount?
I think when it's gone up to 6.9, I think I went back to 6.15 and then 6.09 in the last quarter.
Right. So you got over 0.5% discount.
Yeah.
When it was in the high 6s.
Yeah.
Were you shocked with that?
No, because I'm one of those people that push to get a better deal.
Because a lot of people get a bit embarrassed about ringing up and negotiating. What's your advice to them?
Do it, because you know what? Every dollar you save goes into your pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife gets sick of me when I do the health insurances. Every 6 months, she'll say, "Oh my God, here's another car that I got to change." But look, health insurance. I think in April, every year in April, it goes up. So that's when Sudesh gets on the blower and gets onto it.
Well, Sudesh, you are a master comparer, let me tell you. We've gone through your bills. You have set us a really tough task because, as you say, you've got it down pat, but I think we may have found a bit of extra savings for you.
Looking forward to it.
All right, let's go and chat about it. Is the cost of living costing you happiness? Compare the Market's latest Household Budget Barometer report surveyed more than 3,000 Aussies, and the findings really shocked me. 2/3 felt financial stress once or more a month. 1 in 5 people stressed about money every single day. 7% had fallen behind on bill payments. 5% of homeowners were in mortgage arrears, and nearly 1 in 10 were in debt to family. And while inflation has put pressure on businesses, I don't think we should just accept higher prices as the new normal. We should be fighting back. Yet 1 in 4 people had not compared any bills to save over the past 12 months, which is why we're calling for basic financial skills like managing and comparing bills to be taught in all Australian schools. 95% of the people involved in the research said they thought financial education should be in the curriculum. It's time we put power back into people's hands, because we should never take a bill hike lying down. When the cost of living hits our happiness, it pays to compare. After the break, the top 3 ETFs for beginner investors. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Now, ETFs, or exchange-traded funds, have grown hugely in popularity among Aussie investors. In June this year, Australian ETF assets under management reached a record high of more than $200 billion. ETFs are one of the most affordable ways to enter the world of investing, and they provide investors a diversified portfolio of assets. But what are the top ETFs for beginners to invest in? For more, I'm joined by Andrew Weiland, Director of DP Wealth Advisory, the ETF whisperer that we had on the show a couple of weeks ago to explain about ETFs. Andrew, good to have you back. Now, what's a portfolio of ETFs that would be good to have for beginners? Give us three.
Sure, Kochie, and I'll have to go into compliance mode very briefly. General advice only. We don't know the viewer's circumstances. Go do your own research.
Sure.
Probably the first one I would start with is one from State Street, and it just literally buys the top 200 companies on the ASX. Its ASX code is STW.
Right.
And what it does is it has BHP and Rio and all the banks and Telstra and Woolies and 195 other ones in there as well.
Just gives you great exposure to Australia's big listed companies.
Correct, but importantly, you're not trying to work out how much BHP I should have or do I have too much Woolies or whatever the case may be, because it's all covered in one ETF. The fees are very cheap as well. It's around, from memory, 4 or 5 basis points.
Right.
So the cost of actually running the ETF is like 50 cents for $1,000. So for 1 year, they are doing the rebalancing for you. So you just literally hold the ETF, you collect your dividends on a quarterly basis, and then watch the performance up or down subject to what the share market is doing.
Good one. Number two?
Number two, so we'll move offshore and we'll talk about one from Vanguard, and it buys the top 1,542 companies offshore, ex-Australia. It follows the Morgan Stanley Capital Index, the MSCI, and its code is VGAD.
Okay.
So
this is the top 1,500 companies around the world.
Correct. Ex-Australia.
Europe, UK,
Japan.
US, Japan, the whole lot. Wow.
Ex-Australia. So I've given one that's Australian.
Yeah.
So another end would be international, because again, we know that there's a strong home bias here. Australians buy Australian shares because we're patriotic, but we're missing out on a whole lot of other opportunities around technology, etc. And so this ETF gives you all the big names, but it also gives you exposure to a number of different thematics as well. So, and it's importantly hedged, Kochie.
Right.
So again, subject
the
to what the
currency.
dollar's doing, you don't have to worry about that. VGAD looks after that for you. And from memory, it's around 22, 23 basis points, which again, from an ETF point of view, is quite affordable and is doing a great job.
And the third one?
So the last one is my favourite, and it's Qual. So that's from Van Eck, and the code is Qual. And what it does is it buys quality international companies. It holds at the moment around 299 quality companies. So what's a quality company? Companies that have a strong return on shareholders' money. How much money are they making with your money? Do they have steady to increasing profit? And do they have steady to decreasing debt? Scans 1,500 companies across the world.
Around the world.
Comes up with 299 of them at the moment. And it's got lots of different names in there. It's full of technology companies. So again, technology is certainly an interesting place to be. So Qual is another one of my favourites. So if you had all three of those, it gives you a very well-rounded beginner's portfolio.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Andrew Weiland, good to see you again.
Thanks, Kochie.
In this week's Word on the Street, we asked whether you've ever invested in the share market and how you did it.
Have I ever invested in the share market? Absolutely not, and I'm very embarrassed to say that I just don't understand the market at all, and quite simply, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yes. I started off with like a little app called Race, which basically just rounds up all of your cents and then invests that for you. And then I started like doing a bit of stock picking myself, which I'm not great at. I do not recommend.
I put like $100 just to kind of see what it looks like in a way.
I would be definitely interested in learning about it more, and yeah, just a starting point would be great.
Yeah, watching like YouTube videos about finance and watching like a finance streaming channel, yeah, definitely helps.
I was very interested in certain companies that I would wear things of or like just consume myself, and then I realized I know all these things about them, might as well just invest in them, and then boom.
After the break, how to work out if you're on track to retire. Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Now, are you on track to retire? You might not even be close to thinking about retirement, but it can be hard to know when you're in your 40s or 50s just how much you'll need to live comfortably on when you're older. According to recent ABS data, the average super balance for blokes aged 45 to 54, $219,300. For women aged 45 to 54, it's even less, $136,000. So what can you do to get ahead? Stephen O'Donoghue from Brighter Super is here to guide us and tell us more. Stephen, how do you know if you're on track with your super?
Yeah, good question. Retirement is individual. I always say to members, you only retire once, so you want to do it well. The first thing to consider is what type of retirement do you want? The amount of superannuation you need to have a comfortable retirement will vary depending on various factors, including your desired lifestyle. Do you want to travel? Your expected retirement age, your life expectancy, and whether you have any additional sources of income. If you're approaching retirement, say 10 to 15 years out, we recommend our members review their superannuation balance to see if it aligns to their retirement goals. And at Brighter Super, we have a range of self-service options to see if you're on track for your ideal retirement, such as our retirement income calculator, which is available for everyone to use on our website.
What are the main considerations for people approaching retirement and looking to get on track?
Yeah, so this decade's critical in terms of maximising your superannuation balance. So we look at making sure you're contributing as much as you can to super, and it's invested wisely to ensure you can maximise the growth leading into retirement. So we recommend to our members that they maximise their salary sacrifice contributions if they can. And what this means is that they take some money out of their pre-tax income and contribute into superannuation so they can maximise their super balance, and also reduces their taxable income.
So a lot of people throughout their working life sort of collect superannuation funds, don't they? So people may have more than one. Why is it important to consolidate them?
Well, it's fees. Fees is the big one. So every superannuation fund has its own set of fees, from administration fees, investment fees, and insurance costs. Funds like Brighter Super have fee caps in place that limit the amount of fees you pay as your investments grow. So you may want to consider searching for any lost super you've got and consolidate it into one super account to limit the total amount of fees that you incur.
Earlier you talked about salary sacrifice as a good way to boost your super. What are some of the other options we should consider?
Yeah, there's various other options you can consider in contributing to super, such as spouse contributions, there's carry forward and bring forward contribution options, but one that we find popular for members that are over 55 and looking to downsize their home is a downsizer contribution. This is a once-off after-tax contribution that you can make of up to $300,000 for a single and $600,000 for a couple that you can contribute to super. There is eligibility criteria to consider with these options though.
Yep, and it's a one-off, isn't it?
Absolutely.
How can people find out what's best for them?
Yeah, look, your fund's a good place to start. You may be able to seek advice through your superannuation fund. And at Brighter Super, we believe all members should retire with advice, and our team are specialists in superannuation and retirement planning, and we can assist you from anything from a quick super or retirement health check to see if you're on track, all the way through to retirement planning for you and your spouse.
Good advice can be your best investment as well, can't it?
Absolutely.
Mate, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andrew Baxter from Australian Investment Education, and here's a stock update. The Aussie economy has been slowing, but the US is roaring, particularly in the tech sector. Buying the Nasdaq via an exchange-traded fund such as QQQ is a simple way for Australians to get diversified exposure to the juggernaut which reflects today's economy and the businesses which we all use. For those that can handle some spice, geared exposure to this trade is available through the TQQQ ETF, albeit not for the faint-hearted.
Coming up next, is there a secret treasure hidden in dill hunting extraordinaire Sudesh's bills? Welcome back to Your Money and Your Life. Let's return to Sudesh, the deal hunting dad who deserves a gold medal for comparing and finding better deals on his bills. We've carefully combed through his bills with the experts that compare the market and may have found some hidden treasure. All right, Sudesh, Let me tell you, everyone, I'm sitting here with all of Sudesh's bills. He has his spreadsheet in front of him right here to double check that I'm going to get it right, and I actually have found some savings. Mate, you are so organised. Why?
Why? I guess my background is internal auditing for Australia Post.
Right.
So I guess some of that comes from there.
What's your wife think of this passion for comparison?
Yes, well, she's got other thoughts. she thinks I'm a pain in the what, you know what. But now, look, at the end of the day, we as a family are getting that extra dollar. It goes towards us travelling, having a yearly trip somewhere. So,
It really pays off,
Yeah.
does it? Okay, so you've got your spreadsheet in front of you. I've got your bills in front of
Yes.
me. The team from Compare the Market has gone through all the bills. Now, these are just thought starters for you to get going, so you've got to make your own decision. Let's check with your health insurance. You switched just this year. Health insurance providers. You like your optical for glasses, acupuncture for your well-being.
Yes.
So good for extras. You've also told us it's important to keep cover for heart surgeries and treatments as well.
Correct.
That's high on the priorities should you ever need them. Looks like your cover does all that and more. It does include a few extras you may not be using, like hypnotherapy.
Yes.
Maybe that's why you're a good comparer. You get hypnotised, do you? No.
No. Okay, I didn't actually. That's probably something that I didn't check.
So the team found a couple of different options with some different policy inclusions and limits that might still work with you. If you're not currently using cover for sleep studies, you could reduce your cover to a silver level. One leaner policy, different benefit limits and inclusions for your hospital and extras, would reduce your annual premium by around $869 a year.
Wow.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
We also found a policy similar to the one that you have now, if you wanted exactly the same or very similar. It would cost about $284 less.
That's a big savings.
Yeah, so food for thought there. Let's go into energy. Big bill for a lot of people. You're a big comparer, but sometimes the most obvious savings are right under your nose. There's a little box here of every energy bill that tells you the savings you could make just by switching plans with that same retailer. So here, there's $143.32 immediately that you could save just by going straight to that original provider.
And I did change it last week, actually.
See, I knew you were going to... This guy is right on top of it, so perfect. All right. Home and contents insurance, currently setting you back about $1,150 a year. The team at Compare the Market ran a comparison, found quotes starting from $1,035, so that'd knock $113 off the annual premium. Or if you switch your premium payments from monthly to annually, quotes start as low as $858, reducing your premium by around $289. So that's really something to think about. And your home loan, I know you check it. Look, you're on a really good rate and you look every 6 months. There are some enticing fixed rates around at the moment, but understand if official interest rates go down and you're on a fixed rate, you don't get the benefit of that. So the best thing you can do is just keep doing what you're doing, checking every 6 months. So plenty to mull over there, but with some significant tweaks could reduce your expenses by around $1,300 a year, depending on what you decide.
Okay.
So that could at least pay for the flowers and the limos for your daughter's weddings.
Correct. It's a starter. It's a starter.
Exactly. And Sudesh, because we've loved working with you and being inspired by your comparison routine, Compare the Market would like to kick in a bonus of $1,000 in cash to help with the weddings coming up.
Oh, wow. That's, that's great. That's, it'll help out a lot.
Perfect.
Like I said, every dollar in my pocket, helps towards something.
Yep.
So much appreciated, and thanking you guys very much.
All right, mate. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it.
Well, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Money and Your Life. For all the latest money and investment news that you need to know, go to ymyl.com.au, and while you're there, subscribe to my free email newsletter, which is delivered to your inbox every Friday. Thanks for joining us. Next week on Your Money and Your Life, how people are buying investment properties with superannuation. Should schools teach financial literacy? Tips to manage your higher education debt. Plus, in Kochie's Budget Challenge, we help new parents juggle baby, business and budget.